Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Shapes 2 video. Today, finally, we're going to be able to start on Milestone 8. So let's go ahead and complete and unlock crystals. Now these are, if you're not familiar with crystals, they have some interesting, unique properties. Here's a very brief example on the left of what it does. So instead of painting the shape that you have, it fills in the gaps of your shape with solidified paint, basically. What is very important to note though is that it is fragile. So if we were to cut that circle here horizontally, the red portion of the shape would break, quote unquote, and what that means, it'll just disappear. So you'll undo the crystallization. So that you want the crystallization to be one of the last steps in your build usually. But you are able to, if you cut it horizontally, you should be able to still have the crystal, but let me just double check that. I'll let you guys in a moment, but I'll let you guys know that in a moment, but I'm pretty sure you can cut vertically and still have that crystal. They're also fragile in this sense. You cannot stack them. As you can see here, they just disappear. That I didn't know, but that's helpful to know. So because that blue crystal on the very top here, see if I can zoom in a bit, is attached to the red crystal below, even though we're cutting horizontally where the red crystal should survive, because it's attached to the blue crystal on top, it destroys everything. Yeah, okay. So this just confirms it here. So the swapper being similar to the cutter, so long as it is not actually breaking through the crystal because it's horizontal, both the crystal portions survive and you can swap it. So you can cut along it, just not through them. That's big brain mode, where you can create gaps in your shape by putting a crystal portion in one of the lower levels and then cutting it like so. We shouldn't need to use that mechanic, but nice to know that it exists. Alright, this is the final milestone by the looks of it. You guys have made it up till this point. Congratulations, and thank you for joining me on this journey. This new Hexagonal playthrough has been fun, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it as well. So first we have a fairly common nuclear shape, and that just wants us to crystallize the portions in between. Now this is a little bit tricky because I do not believe you can just create like a full shape in one go with crystals, so we're going to have to do some division here. And we have the white nuclear shape, and then of course they're all combined. Now, as we've just recently been reminded, we can't stack crystals on top of each other. So this is a little bit deceptive in them wanting us to create this shape separately from this one, because we can't just chuck that on top, because that's going to break the crystal below. So we will have to obviously start just with this. But once we get both of them to 10k, we'll need to create this, and then somehow get that crystal shape and put that on top, and then the flower on top of that. That's going to be a bit of a mess around, but we'll be able to figure it out. No worries, I believe. Okay, now that we've unlocked the crystals, let's have a look at this machine. So very similar to the painter, except it's just taller. Which is obviously going to be a problem if we want to create 3 levels, because we won't be able to put it on the 3rd, unfortunately. I'll see if I can figure something out and start creating this blueprint, but I won't do the whole design process on camera, but maybe I'll take you through a couple of steps. While we're just doing some designing, what I'll go ahead and do is upgrade all of the belts here and the machines, and then that way we'll be delivering these previous milestones just a little bit quicker. So that's just going to net us a few more research points. Fantastic. Oh, look at that, now we're back up to 470. Okay, back to the designing. So first things first is just wrapping our head around the ratios. And this is what we're looking at. So the challenging part of building a crystal generator platform is that it has a different ratio for shapes to liquid. So it's very paint hungry. So for a measly 3 machines, we're taking a whole output of 1 fluid catcher. So every 3 we need a different input here of paint, but it's quite slow in using the shapes. So a fully saturated belt requires 6 of these machines. So it's a little bit tricky in that sense. And also, different to the painter, this only has a single possible direction the pipe to be connected to, whereas the painter has 3, so you got a bit more flexibility here, and the painter can connect to other painters as well, like so. Whereas the crystallizer, if you were to do that, there's nowhere for the paint to go, unless of course you had it like that, which is possible but limiting, of course, comparatively to the painter. Anyway, that's what we're working with. That's the ratio at least. We're probably going to need a bigger platform than this, is my guess. And with that in mind, why don't we just go ahead and unlock all of the alternate foundations, since we have plenty of research points to do so. And then perhaps we'll transition this to another platform, but we'll see. Okay gang, I think I've finally done it. It took me longer than I'd like to admit, but we got there. We got there. I was able to fit the crystallizers into two 2x1s. Let's go over the design process. That's the end result here. But first, I just had a look at some of my previous designs. We have the painter here, a wide painter, and then the stacker. And none of those were particularly helpful. But it's nice to have a quick look at regardless. And then of course, I think you've seen this one already. We're just getting the ratios right and visualizing that. And from there, my first plan was to go long and maybe do it in 3. But I eventually scratched that idea. And then I thought I might go vertical and have that path, but I ran into some issues here as well. And that would have taken at least 3 lots of 2x1 platforms. So I ended up scratching that. And then I rotated this 90 degrees and found out I was able to fit comfortably 8 lanes. But 8 lanes doesn't divide up well, as we only have 12 for one space belt. So I decided to go with 3 lots and do it vertically instead. So this is just the first layer, but the plan was to go 2 across and have our shapes come in from above and our paint in from the left. So we wanted to keep that pattern. And the routing probably took the longest, being able to get all the shapes in and all the paint pipes through as well, but we did eventually get there. And once we built the first one, the second one was really easy. Just had to change a few pipe inputs basically. But that's the end result. So shapes come in from the top and they get funneled in through the middle here. So a couple of the bottom ones do, but the top ones, they're all coming in from here. And then from the top, they just go straight down, like so. So let's see this in action, and maybe seeing it actually run will help. So I'll grab the trash, just put it here so it can flow nicely. So as you can see here, there's a full 12 belts coming out of this. But just so there's not too much going on the screen, let's just where's that second one? Have a look at one single one here. So that's the pattern that's basically being replicated. This is a little bit different because we have 4 launches coming in here for this top one, which isn't the case for the others. They can just be piped. Ooh. Where's the one that's just piped? Oh, just here, this last one. You can just connect the pipe in if you have the room for it. You don't need all those launches, but I was a bit pressed for space to be able to route properly. Anyway, getting back to just the singular one, we have 6 crystallizers in a row here, being fed from a single pipe. And the single pipe is able to do 12 comfortably. However, Not any more than that, because these crystallizers take up, it's a 3-to-1 ratio for the launchers. So if we have 4 launchers feeding into a pipe, which is the maximum a pipe can handle, then we're limited of just getting the number of launches into the one pipe, which is 4, and timing that by 3, which is 12. And the 12 crystallizers in a row being fed from the one pipe, but no more. And if you need to jump, you need to do it 4 times, because these will throttle you otherwise. If we just had the one jumping into here, even though the pipe can handle 12, the launcher by itself can only handle 3, which is why we've got those extra ones in here. So for this top one, we're getting the shapes from the top and then just routing them in like so, and on the other side as well. And then once they're crystallized, they're just joining up on the line here. On each side, this one needs to go up just to get across and out of the rest of the factory. And then of course these lines are then jumping, being channeled out to our output here. Let's see if I can just, fix that all up. That should be back to the way it was. Alright, so that is our crystallizer blueprint. Let's go ahead and save that, and then we can actually get started on making the shape and delivering it. Fortunately for us, this is indeed the shape that we need. So this blueprint simply gets thrown into this section here after we cut our shape, of course, and we're just using the hexagon shape. So from here we can remove the trash and actually just send that straight into our hub. Now let me save the blueprint and we'll get back to the white flower in a second. Let's get this white flower going. Just over here, I was testing what happens when you paint a shape that's already been crystallized, and as you can see here, it just paints the shape part, so the crystals remain the same color, they don't get painted over or anything like that. So that's good to know. We obviously don't need any of that, so we'll get rid of this. We do need a painter here, but we'll throw that over for the flower. And then we can throw that straight into the hub immediately. Now the extra step for this next shape is simply to paint it white, which we conveniently already have up here ready to go. So let's throw that in there as well. And I'm going to delete that now because this should already be over 8,000. Okay, so that should start in a second. This is going to be the challenging shape. So we want a full teal crystal, but underneath the flower. Here's a quick question. Can you stack stuff on top of the crystal? For some reason, I think no. Let's do some quick testing though. Well, what am I doing? We want a stacker and we want the right on top. Just to test whether the crystal can handle having something thrown on top of it. Yeah, seems fine. Okay, that's good. What does that mean for us? We can make this crystal shape before then stacking the white flower on top. We can do that separately. However, we're going to set it up down here because of this reason. We need this shape here in the final shape to be underneath the teal crystal. So if we set up creating the shape here, we can then funnel that in and have that come in rather than whatever we end up using first, so that we can avoid needing to stack the crystal on top, because it's not going to work anyway. I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, fear not, because we should have that all visualized for you in just a moment. Right, I've just realized something a bit silly. Actually, I want to now check that here. I was not looking at this close enough. So this has pins underneath, of course, which means this. We need to put pins in, obviously. We'll throw that in, get rid of that. And once that's trained, we can throw that in the top instead. And get rid of that. Okay, so that should start counting up now. Does this change anything? Yes, actually it does. So, what I think it's pushing us towards is, after we finish this white flower, we want to then stack the end result is we stack the white flower with the pins on to this shape, and then after we've stacked it, we then put it through the crystallizer. But unfortunately, we have to do things a bit differently for this one. So we won't be stacking. So we'll divert and put the crystallizer here. We want this on top. So we'll just leave this here as a visual reminder for us for what's going on, what we want to end up doing. I guess I can leave that as is, right? Yeah. Okay, so crystals. Let's copy that crystal blueprint. And we want teal. Right. So we can start taking from this now, I believe. And that's just about done. So let's just go ahead and get rid of all of that. No, we won't. So we need it to finish. We will in just a second. Okay, there we go. So this is obviously going to stop temporarily. Let's have a quick look. Is this producing what we want? Exactly. And in case this wasn't clear, the crystals, the shape will be filled in with crystal paint wherever there is either a space or a pin, because the pins act as a spacer. In case that wasn't clear, sorry I didn't mention it earlier. We see here, we should. They haven't started reaching the vortex yet, but they shall. We should start counting up this shape too. And wow, that's a lot. A lot. I think I'm gonna have to double this for sure. Let's move these blueprints out of the way. And then just copy and paste this whole thing. We'll be making some small changes to it, so I've just flipped and rotated it. So what's up here? Is that white? Yes. And you want red here? Okay. Nope. Perfect. And then teal here. Can do that. No, we do not want that line. And we do not want this line either. That should be it. What? Nope. No, wrong shapes, right? Yeah, wrong shapes. Okay. Let's fix that. Let's fix that up too. That's what we want. That is unfortunate. We'll just put that up there so we don't forget to put it back in when we're done. That should eventually come out right. We'll check on that a bit later. What did we just finish? That. Wait. Oh, this. Right. This one here. Of course. Let's get rid of that then. Now we'll leave this machine. Let me think here. Yeah, we'll leave it just to run this shape for now. When that's done, we can convert it over like we're doing the other one here. Does that look right to you? It doesn't look right to me. What is going on? Oh, I think it's still fixing itself. Yeah, because that's the wrong shape, but this is the right one. Let's just clear all of that. That's still all wrong. Ah, no? No, that should be right. We'll check it again in a sec. Okay, so we've finally finished the rest of these shapes. So let's go ahead and remove that from our factory and instead place these in Now I see we have these counting up already. It's a good sign, which means this factory should be working. And indeed it is. As you can see, it's far from a full 12 belts. Let's see if we can work out what is going on here. So let's first just check our inputs. Seems like we have plenty of paint and plenty of shapes, so it's not there. These are full, but they're locked up, so it's further down somewhere. Same thing is happening here. And here as well. Right, so doesn't look like we're getting enough teal paint. That seems to be the big problem here. Let's check our other crystallizer. We are full of, so that's just normal paint. My apologies. Crystallizer here. Plenty of red. So it seems to be the issue. The teal paint is coming up here to make white. Aha, okay, here we go. We've messed up our routing a little bit. So this should also be connected. Like so, it doesn't help that it doesn't do it automatically. Okay. Now we're producing twice as much. So that should eventually fix the flow. We will find out shortly whether that is the case or not. Now let's check our other factory. And that's what we want to see. Ooh, it's not quite full though. You can see the first and second layer still have some gaps. So they're coming in and they're all full here, so can you guys see the pipes flashing? That means that we're struggling to make enough of the teal color here as well. If we had an excess of paint or a good flow through, these pipes should all stay full and be colored cyan, I should say, instead of teal. Same. So let's go check our production. We do at least have got enough paint coming in because that's flowing slowly. And all our mixes are going, we just doesn't look like we're making enough of it. And I imagine that's because we're using the teal twice to create the white paint up here. To solve this issue, let's go ahead and just create a second paint mixer. So we're using the same two colors again, and just output these all to the same space pipe. The reason why we can do that is because these have a massive throughput limit. So if we had 3 mixers hooked up to this, we should still be able to use the one main line. That is not true, please forgive me. I've just run the numbers and one main space pipe can comfortably fit a maximum of 4 full outputs. So these launchers have a launch rate of 1.8 thousand, and we have 12 of these for each segment. So 1.8 times 24 is 43.2. And then times that by 2 again. And you have 86.4. So it actually works out to be, you can have up to 5. But of course, with our color mixes, I mean, I guess we could have a third here, right? And would just be throttled slightly because we'd end up with 6 instead of 5. Let's say we had 5 stations and all of the same color for whatever reason. We could add them all together and that would be completely fine. And just to clear up the math, so 18,000 liters or 1.8 times 12 is 21.6, and if you times that by 5 you get 108. And have a look at this space pipe. 10.8, which means 5 lots of these can fit into one of those. Anyway, I hope that's cleared up any confusion that I may have gotten myself and you into. Now let's check back with the crystallizer, and brilliant. We're running very smoothly now. Let's just double check the output. Fantastic. Now I should expect this not to be the same yet because we have not fixed the increased teal necessary. Yeah, and we don't have quite enough. We should be having the same problem here, and you can see by the pipes, yes we are. So let's fix that up as well. Copy, press F, rotate twice. So the game doesn't like joining up. Like so, if you already have this down placed, but if you delete it, it'll automatically place another one for you. Alright, there we go. This should be ticking down quite quickly now. And that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. After getting it all worked out and sorted, it doesn't really look that bad at all. You just need a good amount of paint. Do we have the cutter first up? What? Ah, I see. Uh-huh. We're producing 2 full lanes, but we're only using 1 combined. So this looks, it still has the old shape in it because these lanes never move. Not a big deal for throughput, but it does look a bit wonky. I'm just going to clear all of that and then it should come good. Yeah, they're all the same shape now. Sorry about that. Okay, so back to the quick overview. We have the cutter cutting into the nuclear shape. Of course, just a white painter. Some pins at the end. But our first crystallizer. The crystallized shape is then being painted. Simple painter with white paint coming in from the right. And then the left flower is being stacked on top of the crystal shape, which is fine, which you've established, of course. And then from there, we have the combined shape go into our crystallizer. Now it currently looks like this. It's got pins underneath the white flower, and as I've stated before, the crystallizer's function differs in the painter's function in this way. Any gap in the shape, even if it's not on the top layer, it's going to fill with whatever color the crystallizer is filled with. So as we can see here, there were pins underneath this flower, but now they've been replaced by a teal crystal instead. And if we had pins on the bottom, let's say we had the flower too high, we would have 2 full shapes of the teal. So it doesn't cost any more liquid or any less liquid. Depending on how many gaps you have, it'll always use the same amount. Now let's check out very end output. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but it's only in that lane too. How odd. Other than that though, it's full belts. Is the same thing happening over here? Well, okay. What's going on? What have we messed up? These aren't full anymore. Alright. We might be running into the same problem with our... Yeah. Right. Okay. Yep. I guess that was bound to happen. We've got these both set up on the same paint line here. This is using all of our red paint now because it gets delivered first, naturally, which means we have none on the left. So I won't bore you guys with this, but I'll see if I can increase the throughput of our paint trains. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with 2 of these running. We've finally been able to finish this last milestone. And I was sort of able to fix this. So I think we're just under capacity for that. Oh, perhaps well under actually. Pardon me. Well, at least we're able to get 1 full belt. And that was only a matter of supplying the right amount of paint. You see we've got our other milestones going too, just a few of them. That's looking pretty cool. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video and have enjoyed playing through the game if you're doing that along with me. In the next couple, I think we'll just complete the remaining side tasks. We still have 4 to do. 31, 32 is probably a video, and then 33 and 34. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Have a blessed week. And until next time, bye for now.